Inflation up again.
Applause on Wall Street as the S&P 500 hit a record high yesterday. Investors shrugging off a new report that finds inflation once again rose last month. Consumer prices were up 3.2% from a year ago, slightly above what was expected, and Americans are noticing.
I love Honeycrisp, but $8, $9 for a bag of apples? Nah, that's not good.
The main culprits keeping prices high: gas rose 3.8%, rent rose 0.4%, clothing up 0.6%. Grocery prices overall were flat last month, but cereal and egg prices rose.
Gas prices aren't nearly high enough. Fango lives. Your EV loyalism is so funny to me, okay? As it stands currently, there's no alternative out of the situation. It is quite suspicious that gas prices rise and probably will continue to as we're leading into an election year. But of course, guys, listen. It's objectively true, though, given the external costs. When gas prices get high, you do realize that it touches everything, right? Gas is literally a direct part of every part of our logistics. So it is used as a justification to price gouge in every other avenue as well. Like, people think electricity is not tied to fucking gas. Gas is the spice melange. Yes. Anyway. Like, how the fuck does Fed raising rates lower gas prices? I fucking hate this. No, there is nothing you can do. You can only just sit back and basically beg OPEC Plus, or rather the American manufacturers, the American oil and gas giants, to combat against OPEC Plus, which they won't do because they are beholden to their shareholder interests first and foremost, and no one else. But also keep those beautiful subsidies coming in. There's not really anything you can do. If Saudi Arabia wants Donald Trump to be president, they will fucking squeeze you as hard as they can. Joel Seaver, thank you for the 521 gifted subs. Now, in the perfect world, I have suggested doing the going Iran mode, or going Chavez mode, or going Norway mode on our extraction industries in its entirety. That would be great. I think that a correct path forward would be to nationalize our extraction industries entirely. Then we can take all of the surplus profits generated from it, keep prices low, and also still make a tidy profit on top of it, and take those surplus profits and use it to, fix our infrastructure and make it focus on renewable energies. This is the most sustainable way of doing anything, really, and trying to push back against our crawl towards inevitable demise. But sounds like you want a global war. Who the fuck's gonna war with us? We're America. Fuck you mean? We are the ones who do the global war. Counterpoint, that sounds gay and I don't want to. Yes. America about to invade itself. I mean, that is how we've invaded. That is why we've invaded so many countries. Nationalization is obviously a no-brainer, but it has to be coupled with pollution pricing because, e.g., Mexico has nationalized oil, but is still pushing for higher production, etc. I love you, but your oil and gas takes are awful. Other than nationalizing extraction, which I agree with, U.S. oil and gas production keeps hitting record highs. OPEC Plus has a stated goal of keeping an $80 barrel price floor. So is it the middlemen? Who is increasing the prices then? Is it the big is it Amaranth? You need to tell me if it's Amaranth. Is she doing it at our local gas stations? Biggest problem with the US is the lack of refining capacity. Yes. Who has the refining capacity or the easiest to refine? Saudi Arabia. No, not Vuvuzela. Venezuela actually has a big problem with that as well, as far as I understand. It's impossible to compete against Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabian oil is too good. No, Saudi oil is cheap and easy to extract from the ground. Refining is different. But the US doesn't build refineries at scale anymore. It's essentially impossible because a new refinery would produce a lot less pollution than the old refineries we have. Okay. None of this explains why gas prices are going up. It's also not impossible. What you said is impossible is not impossible at all. I mean, we agree with you and I agree on why we must nationalize. So you understand where I'm coming from then when I say what I'm saying. You haven't told me. Sure, it does. Our demand for gas goes up, but our refining capacity really isn't. Old refineries are being retired. Oklahoma is actually doing interesting stuff here, building a new $6 refinery powered by wind, solar, and geothermal. But that's the first new big refinery to be built in a decade or two. I mean, this is what I think is going on because OPEC is cutting another 2.2 million per barrel, 2.2 million barrels in Q2 of 2024, which will increase gas prices as oil companies hedge bets and take it out on the consumer. Is what I thought was going on. But this chatter is saying that's not what's going on. That like oil companies do not hedge their bets against Saudi oil production. $6 billion refinery, not a $6 refinery. The way I see it is this. If you are a profit driven, as every company is, obviously, if you're a profit driven corporation, then you have no interest in improving your refining capabilities or doing anything really. If OPEC decides or signals that they are going to limit supply and therefore boost prices for the oil that they're selling, then American manufacturers have no interest in like increasing output to compete against that anyway, are not going to do that and take advantage of making more profits for the same amount of supply that they have. I'm sure that they run the same math equation in their heads that we can understand, being fucking stupid. I'm a stupid guy. If I can see it, I'm sure they calculate it. You can look at charts of U.S. oil production, and it keeps going up. OPEC is 40% of world oil supply. The U.S. is 13%. A lot of people think big oil controls pricing, but big oil is 8% of world supply. Wait, what? No, man. I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. First of all, I don't know what you mean about big oil. Like, what's big oil in comparison to OPEC or the U.S. oil companies? But what I'm saying is, when OPEC sets production, when OPEC sets the production of the world oil supply, they end up, because there is already going to be demand no matter what. Because like we said, the entirety of our logistics relies on oil. When OPEC sets it, no, I get what you're saying about OPEC cutting oil supply, but all they're doing is trying to keep an $80 price floor. Okay, the problem is when OPEC signals that they will limit supply or keep a certain price point, the 13% that you are talking about, which a lot of it is exported anyway, okay? We have the capacity to not export it if we didn't feel like it. The American government could step in. And two, the American government could also force oil companies in the United States to at least increase supply as a way to hedge against the limited supply of Saudi Arabia. This would unfortunately go against their best interests, which, is their profit margins, improving profit margins for their shareholders. My point is, we don't do that, and Joe Biden doesn't do that because he can't do that. He talked about wanting to do that before. Exported or imported, it really doesn't matter. It's a global commodity. Exporting 100 million barrels just means 100 million barrels not bought from other oil producers. By the way, regarding freight, U.S. just released its first ever national truck freight electrification strategy yesterday, which is a pretty big deal about directing investments to build truck charging stations and whatnot. Okay, I'm confused as to what you and I disagree on, because I think you're literally you're in agreement with what I'm saying. I don't get it. People say OPEC is favoring Trump here, but OPEC actually hates Trump because Trump screwed them over royally. I think it is not a secret that Saudi Arabia is in favor of Donald Trump. Saudi Arabia wants Donald Trump to be president. If you don't agree with me on this, I don't know what to tell you. And so does Russia, I think. I 100% will disagree with you on this point. Saudi Arabia, 1,000%. Putin has said inconsistent things on whether he wants Biden or Trump. He said Biden is more predictable, Biden is more stable, sure. But 1,000,000% MBS wants Donald Trump to be president. He gave a fucking the only English-speaking interview he has conducted was to Fox News. That happened like 2 months ago. I'm saying focus on OPEC is a red herring. The biggest factor in gas prices increases in OPEC production. It's our refining capacity. That's all I'm saying. Okay. What you're talking about, what you are talking about is not outside of what I am mentioning. Because the ultimate goal here, even if we are to talk about like American oil refiners not improving their refining capabilities and even closing down oil refineries in the country when we have a massive refinery capacity that we are not taking advantage of, that still goes along with exactly what I'm saying, which is that first and foremost, they want to improve profit margins. And because they want to improve profit margins, they are not doing that, and therefore continuing along with OPEC strategy, or with whatever price points OPEC is determining for the price of a barrel of oil.